Afternoon, everybody. It's Friday. I'm Kevin Merkel, CEO here at CoinMetro, and this is my weekly AMA. As I normally do, I'm going to have everybody, or hopefully somebody, do a live mic check for me so I can know if everybody can hear me out there before I go on and start talking to myself. So I'll wait here a bit and wait for somebody to pop in and let me know that I'm audible. Sounds a bit silent. Okay, well, maybe if I actually speak into the microphone, that might help. All right, let me know if this sounds a bit better. Maybe I was talking a bit low, not sure. But at least you can hear me. We know things are working. So on one of the last AMAs, somebody had asked if I could maybe wait a few minutes before we kick off because they missed a few things. So I could just sit here and shuffle my fingers for a couple minutes, but instead of doing that, just let you guys know, let's see, give a quick little update. Lots of meetings this week with mainly partners, a lot of business development going on. Thanks for letting me know. It's fine. Good to go. Thank you. So I'm glad the audio works. So lots of business development, a little bit of conversation with local regulators here in Estonia through a secondary project that I've been helping, but that ties in obviously to our overall business at hand. Getting closer to finalizing a deal with picking out of 5 options a provider for debit cards, IBAN accounts, and things like that that will partner with us to offer these bank-like solutions before we move into acquiring our own licensing. And obviously the open beta, I guess that's the biggest news of the week. The fact that all 3 platforms are now live in that open beta. But anyway, I think that's about 3 minutes. So look, I'm going to jump in, guys. We have a bit of a schedule I like to sometimes follow, where we have some curated news that comes from Reddit. So over the week, people kind of jump in, a group of contributors on our end jump in and curate some news articles that they've seen across the week that they want me to comment on. And then we go into Reddit questions from this past week. So questions that were posted to our Reddit board. And then after that, we do the live question. Well, sometimes I throw an update in there, but a lot of times I end up updating while I'm answering these questions. But if I don't, I throw in a bit of an update, and then we jump into the AMA. And that's Facebook and YouTube. So I'm going to jump right into the news from last week, just so that everybody knows. Here we go. It's 3 minutes after. That should be enough to get everybody online. So first news topic out of 10. So we have 10 topics this week. Minnesota Congressman Tom Emmer announces his 3 revolutionary pro-blockchain bills. Revolutionary, I think, is a bit of a stretch here. I know how everybody, when they do something, want to make it sound like they're doing something that's going to change the world. And I definitely tip my hat to Tom Emmer for doing something to try to push some legislation, and that's great. But revolutionary is the wrong adjective, I think, for this news story. So I see there's 3. So I see 3 things here. They have something inside the article. They talk about, I think the headline is resolution supporting digital currencies and blockchain technology. The resolution promotes the development of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technologies in the United States. So it's all about the tech there. It has nothing to do with money remittance. It has nothing to do with having some type of national legislation or regulation around cryptocurrency exchanges or the use of cryptocurrency, crypto assets as a currency or any type of monetary or anything that has to do with finance, let's say. So for the main crux here about regulation isn't about using the tech. You can pretty much use most tech without regulation. You don't need regulation to put up a WordPress website. there's no regulation that governs the protocol. Well, there is regulation, but I shouldn't say that, but there isn't specific, there wasn't a need for specific regulation initially to regulate the protocol that we call the internet, for example. There have been obviously regulation that has come out, and some that has come out even recently that's been caused quite an uproar, right? Net neutrality and all that good stuff. But I don't see this as revolutionary. So blockchain, then they have the Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act, which basically tries to clarify the fact that you can use blockchain as long as you're not touching consumer funds without the need for any type of additional licensing. Why would we really need somebody to say that, though? I mean, is that not already... I mean, it's already a fact. I love when this happens. It's already basically a fact. Why is it a fact? Well, you can basically operate with blockchain as a technology right now with no licensing. Do we really need regulation to say you don't need licensing when no licensing is required? Should we also make some regulation that says I don't need a license to breathe? How about that I don't need specific licensing to be able to use the bathroom, read the paper, and shave in the morning? Should I get some lights? Should I get some regulation around that? No, obviously not. So I think this is just kind of oversimplifying, or I don't know, it just seems a bit of a, it doesn't seem all that revolutionary to me. Let's put it that way. And the last one, safe harbor for taxpayers. So with Forked Assets Act, the Forked Assets Act, that's pretty, forked assets. That's, if you say that too fast, it kind of sounds a bit funny and may actually be more truthful than a forked asset. So the legal thing here is that they're complying with tax. Okay, it's clear. There does need to be some more clear tax definition on how these things are taxed. I agree with that. That's still not revolutionary. You know, he's not reinventing the wheel here. He's just adding in new tax law for a new type of asset, not revolutionary. So thank you, Thomas Emmers, for trying to do something. But, you know, you didn't do much for the real crux of the regulatory issue, which is, how do we deal with the app layer that is, let's say, Bitcoin on top of the protocol that is blockchain? That is, and the, you know, Ethereum and smart contracts and ICOs, tokens, etc. That's the real crux. This is easy stuff. This is stuff that shouldn't be making headlines. The only reason it's making headlines is because nobody's doing anything about anything else. So revolutionary, so sorry, not really. But it's I don't even know if it's a step forward. It's maybe clarification, which may help there be a step forward at some point. Hopefully Thomas reads a bit more, or his aides read a bit more, and the next time they write some regulation, it actually does something to change the way things are currently handled, or actually provides some type of usable information to create some real frameworks that will help us figure things out in the future. Number 2 on the list of 10, somebody really wants to talk to me. Okay, number 2 on the list of 10, Google ends ban on ads for regulated crypto exchanges. So we already knew this was going to happen. I'm pretty sure this was mentioned when they banned them. And I know I mentioned it at least on 1 or 2 of these AMAs. So not really news, good news, even though it's not really news, right? They had to do this. You know, you can't, when there is no regulation, they're scared that they may get caught. Look, Google already has legal teams that they're paying, you know, lots and lots and lots of money for on retainer, because they have so many legal issues, and they constantly have legal issues, and they constantly have to fight legal issues. They don't want to fight another one. So when there was absolutely no regulation, obviously they didn't want to dip their toes too deep in there, because then if a lot of fraud happens, then, you know, well, you allowed them to advertise, blah, 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 they get into trouble. So what they did was they just blanket banned. And now they're saying, well, there is a bit of regulation, like in Estonia, for example. I don't really know there's regulation anywhere else, to be quite honest. And now they're letting us back in. So good news for us. We knew it was going to happen anyway. We didn't know the timeline, so to speak. We figured it would be as quick as they possibly could get it done. And it seems that they got it done. So good for us. And like I said, we already knew this was going to happen. I'm glad it happened before we went live. I guess that's the main point, I guess, from my side. Number 3 out of 10, Coinbase expansion of crypto assets listings. So I actually briefed through this article really quickly. Normally I don't look at the articles at all for the most part, because I've either read the article already throughout the week, or someone mentioned it to me, or I don't have to read it because I already know what it's about, just based on the title. But I glanced through this one, and I think Coinbase is on the right track. There's one quote in here that kind of made me laugh a little bit. Let me see if I can find it here. Give me one second. Okay, it says, under worldwide compliance, it says, Coinbase may be breaking ground here, as jurisdiction by jurisdiction asset listing appears to be a rare practice among crypto exchanges. Yeah, that's probably right, but we do it, and we'll do it, and it's already written into our policies. But the funny thing that's about that is that you could pretty much say anything in that sentence. It could be like, I don't know, Coinbase may be breaking ground here, as doing business as you're supposed to do it is quite rare among crypto exchanges. Or KYC and AML and PEPs and sanction screening is quite rare among crypto exchanges. Or price discovery is quite rare. I mean, that list, you could literally take the front and end of this sentence and add in pretty much anything, and it would be factual. So that kind of made me laugh a little bit. But I think the approach they're taking is the smart one. From a regulatory legal approach, you know, you can't allow people. Look, if you have, just like if you were a stock trader, a stock platform, let's say, and you had stocks in the U.S., and in order to buy those stocks, there has to be some linkage to the U.S., let's say, right? And you have somebody who's buying from Japan. Well, you can't let them buy the U.S. stocks, right? So you have they don't have access to those instruments. Or you have platforms, multi-asset platforms that have access to exchange-traded funds. But if you're not part of the exchange, if you're not a member, you can't trade those. So this makes sense. It makes sense from a risk mitigation standpoint. And I know what Coinbase is thinking here, because I think we think along the same lines in this aspect, in that you do not want to piss off the regulator before the regulator listens to you, so that they create regulation that lets you do what you want to do. So you placate them, and you do what you know they want you to do, which is to keep an arm's length between pretty much everything and make sure you follow rules and regulations, or let's say best practices that are in other markets. And then you try to craft laws with the regulator that will allow you to list multiple assets to multiple different jurisdictions, right? But you don't do that before you have permission to do it. That's the point. So I would say, again, thumbs up for Coinbase here. I think they're doing the right thing. I think it'll piss people off. People will get confused. But, you know, unfortunately, that's the world we live in. And the only way to make people not confused is to try to help to make the regulator not confused, so they draft legislation that allows us to work in a more wider scope. Number 4 out of 10, Japan crypto exchange ZEIF gets third warning from the FSA because of recent hack. I don't know why you need 3 warnings about a hack. It's like, you know, dude, you got hacked. Do something better. And then what's the second warning? Dude, you got hacked. Like, have you done anything better yet? And then what's the third one? Remember, dude, you got hacked. You know, what have you done so far? It's great. They should warn them 150,000 times. I mean, keeping, I don't know, 50, 60, whatever it was, million euro, USD, whatever it was, in hot wallets, and then linking those probably through some type of JavaScript into your front end of your application. You probably should have gotten hacked. You know, they probably could have lost a lot more money. Obviously, the protocols at that company are not what they're supposed to be, which tells me that either they lied to the FSA initially because the FSA has some a pretty grueling application process when it comes to questions, and they're pretty in-depth questions. They either lied to the FSA, or they told them what they wanted to hear, and they never put the protocols into practice. So it's a warning to the FSA to go ahead and start checking up on all those different crypto companies. And it's going to make things a little more difficult for good actors like yours truly. But they should keep on sending warnings, and they should probably look to you know, do an internal audit and make sure that ZEIF is on the right track to fix whatever protocol issues they had that caused this hack in the first place. Okay, somebody's not seeing. Before I go on to our number 5 here on a list of 10, I see Cody from Facebook saying that he can't see video. Anybody else on Facebook not seeing? Oh yeah, it looks frozen actually. Interesting. Let's see. So yeah, let's see. Looks to be frozen, guys. I'm gonna see if I can get this to unfreeze. Let's see. Okay. Video's frozen. Yeah, I think it should be unfrozen now. I just did a little magic on my side. So let me know, guys. Carlos, let me know if the video is unfrozen for you on your side. Okay, cool. I'm back. All right. Well, as long as you could hear what I was saying, who wants to look at my face for an hour? Okay, cool, Stephen. Okay, I'm going to get back into it, guys. Thanks for letting me know. I'm glad I was paying attention to your comments. But yeah, I'm pretty sure looking at me for an hour isn't why you all come here on Fridays. So I hope not. So number 5 on my list of 10, Monero bug allows theft from crypto exchanges. Will they start delisting it? It's pretty bad that a protocol would have a bug that would threaten third-party applications. If I had Monero listed, which I won't because we're not listing privacy coins because, well, regulation and banking, at least for now. If I had listed Monero, or let's say this happened with another asset where because of their program, that's something that I did, but because of their own programming provided some type of backdoor so that theft could occur on my business, not only would I delist them, but if there was any type of foundation or any type of underlying company that I could sue, I would sue them. So I don't know what other exchanges will do, but yeah, look, when you run a business that deals with other people's money, the first thing you need to do is protect. So anyway, I think that goes kind of without saying. Number 6 on a list of 10 here, around 80 crypto and Wall Street leaders threaten U.S. lawmakers. Hurry up with the regulation or we're ditching the U.S. This is comical. And I'll tell you why it's comical. I'm just going to pull up the story here because I want to... yeah, here we go. So I don't know if it mentions in the article. I know Coinbase is mentioned. I don't really see anybody else being mentioned. I'll read the headline here. It says, around 80 business leaders representing the cryptocurrency industry and Wall Street met with U.S. lawmakers on September 25th to pass on an important message. Make way for regulatory clarity on crypto and ICOs without further delay, or watch innovation ditching the U.S. for a more business-friendly country. Let me tell you how much Wall Street, let me tell you how much regulators care about quote-unquote innovation. They don't. That's how much they care. They don't care because of this, right? I think young people are always, I was young once, so I was, I had these ideas at one point as well, and then life, beat them out of me. But I think young people are under the impression that anything that happens new when it's like their time to shine, which right now is Bitcoin, which when I was a kid was kind of like, the internet. Before that, it was, could have been, you could argue radio, television, all these things during a certain generation were the next big thing. And everybody said, nothing's going to happen, nothing's going to happen. They were the most innovative thing at the time. And then they went on to kind of change the way we live and the way we work and the way we, basically everything about how we run our lives. So blockchain may be that next innovation, but it's too small right now for them to care about. The only thing the regulator is supposed to care about is consumer protection. If they don't have a way to protect the consumer, they could care less about your innovation. They could care less about how all these really nice guys in suits came down and talked about how they want to raise free money and how they want a place to be able to exchange this free money, and that you guys hurry the heck up and do your job or we're going to go somewhere else. You know what their response to that is? Go somewhere else. That's it. Have fun. Go somewhere else. Go to a high-risk country. Go to a country with no regulatory framework. See what happens. And when your accounts get frozen 3 years from now and your business is out of business, and we by then have solid regulation, let's see who wins the game. That's their response always. And I get that. I think Coinbase is probably there because they want the PR, and maybe they're the smartest guys in the room. I don't know. I don't know who else is there because it doesn't really say in this meetup. Now, if I was invited to the meetup, would I go? Of course I'd go. Why not? Because I think it's always good to be heard. But I think I'd go knowing the fact that it's kind of, horse shit, to be honest. It's a little ridiculous. But, the way they should be attacking this is not, you guys hurry up and do your job. It's, let us help you do your job. Here is how we think that this can be done. Here is a framework that we think that, 1, we can follow. 2, that will help protect the consumer. 3, that will mitigate manipulation on the markets. That's what they want to see. And if all you're going to do is go there and cry like 5-year-olds, you're not going to get very far. You get a bit of PR. I guess, what is this? BTCmanager.com puts a story up about you. But that's pretty much it. There needs to be more than that. There needs to be more than that. There needs to be more depth than just, hey guys, hurry up. Don't armchair quarterbacking. This is not going to work. You gotta grab the ball. You can't just armchair quarterback it. So number 7 out of 10, Coinbase rolling out new features to help people get started with cryptocurrency, mainly education. Yep, been there, done that, right? We already kind of got that on our platform kind of built in. It makes sense though. I think, Coinbase, their only business model is crypto. They made a lot of money and started feeling real cocky about themselves, I'm sure, November, December, January, right? Because everybody and their grandmother was buying crypto. Coinbase was selling all kinds of crypto. They probably popping champagne bottles and thinking about how in 5 years they're going to be worth more than, Bank of America or whatever nonsense. I don't know. And then reality hit. And now they're like, oh, Christ, market's really small. Volume's tanked. Oh boy, what do we do now? Education. So they probably should have done that before. It's good they're doing it now. They need to expand their revenue base. That's for sure. Some more inroads for revenue. I'm sure Coinbase probably spends a lot of money. They spend a lot of money on regulatory efforts. They have only one revenue model. And that's not good for long term. And I think they're realizing that. And I bet you they try to monetize their education rollout at some point. Number 8, billionaire investor Tim Draper warns, government will be judged for years to come for hostile stance to crypto. Yeah. Okay, so very ominous from Mr. Draper. No, they won't, and they don't care. So how many times has the government had a hostile stance against a new technology? Well, every time. That's how many times. Every time there's a new technology, especially when it ties into finance, they're always hostile. They were hostile they're even hostile now when providers of content want to lease new radio waves or whatever to be able to push content. They're hostile about that. Government, nobody's going to care. Once, if they're hostile now, okay, great, and everybody's like, oh, government. Once the regulations come out and the adoption spreads, everybody's going to forget about how hostile it was. It'll be over in a second. The only people that'll remember are old guys like me that'll be telling their grandchildren about how, when they tell them, we were around when blockchain started, and they're like, oh my God, that's like 5 million years ago. And I'll tell them about how governments sucked, and then they wouldn't let us do anything we wanted, and we couldn't get bank accounts. And they'll be like, I have a blockchain bank account right now, Grandpa. That's just the way things happen. This comment is stupid. It's a bit ridiculous. I used to like Tim Draper, but sometimes I don't know. I don't know if he says these things just to get attention, or maybe somebody took his words out of context. But governments will not be judged for years to come, because one of two things happens. One, the adoption expands, everybody forgets. Or adoption dies, the market dies, and everybody forgets. There you go. Plus, governments change, We don't have, kings and queens around most of the world, right? So every couple years, man, the government's different. So nobody's going to remember, and nobody's going to care. Unfortunately, if we did have a system where, 10 years from now, people couldn't get elected because they weren't pro-blockchain. But that's not necessarily the case. There may be small outlier countries where stuff like that happens, but in the real world, not so much. Number 9, major Indian BTC exchange ZebPay shuts down. Well, I got one thing to say to ZebPay, and that's you set up in India, where you should have already known that capital controls and things like that exist. So you set up in a country to take advantage of a large population with one, either not knowing that capital controls exist in your country and the history of regulation around fintech or any other type of anything that has to do with finance or money. So you either didn't know or you knew and took the risk. So both of those are maybe not the best move. And then a couple months back, you had India say, they didn't want to deal with crypto, and you still kept operating. So you were basically breaking the law. So, not really news. They should have thought about this before they launched the company, to be honest. Again, if I think of, when you think of capital controls in the world, and when you think of, let's say, countries that are generally supportive of fintech, India is not on that list at all. It's not even close. Number 10, debit card company BitNovo now accepting Bitcoin Cash. I really have nothing to say on this one. So what? You know, debit cards don't have Bitcoin Cash on them. They don't have Bitcoin on them. They don't have crypto on them. They have fiat currency on them, which means you just need a vehicle to exchange any digital asset to get it into fiat to put it on the card. So it could say debit card company BitNovo now accepts astronaut ice cream, and it wouldn't make any difference to me whatsoever, because as long as there's somebody to exchange that astronaut ice cream that comes in a pouch and give you euro, then you can put that on a debit card. So what? I think a lot of these things get curated because people know we're going to offer debit cards, and like, does this mean we're not going to have any market share? No. And I'll tell you why it doesn't mean that. And that it generally doesn't mean that because there still isn't a platform that allows you to do all the things that we are planning to allow our client base to do in one single platform that's regulated. It doesn't exist yet. And everybody that's coming out in the market is all saying they want to be the blockchain bank, the new asset bank, the digital asset bank, the whatever, crypto bank. I'm pretty sure crypto started because people hated banks. Just using the word bank kind of sounds ridiculous. That means they don't really understand who they're marketing to, because marketing crypto bank to people that don't know what crypto is could care less about crypto. And marketing crypto bank to people who know what crypto is, they don't like banks. So it's a stupid way to market. And a lot of people are doing that. That's not how we're doing it. We understand crypto, and we're offering traditional financial services, which means it makes it much easier to deal in crypto if you can get money in and out of crypto. These type of news stories, I just think they're just getting some PR. They paid a few $1,000s to get a press release so the Bitcoin Cash nuts will get excited that they can put their money on a debit card. But they could have done that before. They just had to transfer their Bitcoin Cash to maybe Bitcoin and then sent to WireX or whatever nonsense, and they could have done it before. So not really big news. I'm going to run on to the Reddit questions now. I'm just going to check to see if I'm not like frozen in time here on the video before oh no, I think I'm still moving. Okay. So I'm going to move on to Reddit questions. First question, I have, I think, seven this week. So number 1 of 7, let's see. From Johnny Dixon, is there a rough time for launch? Coinbase is in a bad place and is making desperate attempts to gain more customers. Binance is booming, getting really worried you're going to launch too late and miss any opportunity of becoming a top 5 exchange. Also very worried all of your unique selling points will already be implemented by other exchanges by the time you actually launch. Okay, Johnny, I understand that viewpoint. I think it's short-sighted, and I'll tell you why. So I would say Coinbase is not in a bad place. I think Coinbase is following a rather similar approach that we have, and that's don't worry about the revenues you make currently. Worry about 5 years from now, once regulation is in place and Binance can't operate, or people like Binance, let's say, can't operate. Binance is booming. I think that's one way to look at it. I wouldn't say they're booming. They don't know how to run a regulated entity, and they have no one to do it. So they're partnering with regulated entities or people that can get regulated in other jurisdictions. So that's a halfway good step in the right direction. I don't think the time we launch has anything to do with being a top 5 exchange. Not to mention that exchange is part of our business model, for sure. But it's not anywhere near where we're going to make our revenue, right? So the exchange part is a piece, and it brings us into the crypto community and allows us to amplify the crypto community by bringing on people that don't know what crypto is. But the real money for us is not made on the crypto exchange. It's made on that traditional financial tie-in. It's the debit cards, it's the IBAN accounts, it's the remittances, it's the investment platforms, and the other platforms that we build on top of the exchange where we really make money, and what separates us from all these. Binance doesn't do any of that. Coinbase doesn't do any of that. I don't think anyone's touched on all our unique selling points yet, not even close. I think there's companies, I see companies all the time. There's one I just saw, Bank 52 or something like that, who said they're going to be any asset banking platform, which kind of made me laugh because I was like, okay, what if I have a bag of dog shit? Can I trade that then on your banking platform? I mean, but nobody, again, the banking aspect to me doesn't make much sense, but we are providing something that no one else has done. Even if it was done, there's not going to be one game in town, so to speak, right? And I don't care if I'm a top 5 exchange. I wouldn't fight not to be one. But I'd rather be a top 5 fintech platform that covers aspects of banking, that covers aspects of investing, that covers aspects of crypto, that covers aspects of multi-asset trading, that covers aspects of securitization, that covers aspects of, rather than, what do you guys do? We're a crypto exchange. What does that mean? Well, you can exchange crypto assets. Yay. That business model is not going to be around in a few years. Why? Because nobody trades one asset type on a platform. You need to have multi-asset. You need to be fiat friendly. And you can't just be fiat friendly in 2 regions of the world. You can't just partner up within, that fiat aspect is the business. If you have to partner with people to do that, you lose a large portion of your revenue. So it's out of desperation, not because if you should just do it yourself. Now, it could be that they're saving time while they try to get their own licensing in order. But anyway, I don't want to talk all about Binance. The point is that I understand let's say your fear, but this market is in its infancy. A lot of the companies you see operating today that look like they're doing great won't exist in a few years. So I think for me, my whole viewpoint here is that we need to make sure we are here in a few years. And that's not just from making revenue. It's not just making sure that we make millions right now and just get to market as fast as we can. It's making sure that the base, the structure beneath the business, and that includes regulatory, that includes all that good stuff, is done correctly, right? So, number 2, Matt's a boss. Kevin, could you expand on the bond idea? There's been a lot of confusion, speculation on how exactly it would work. Has anyone asked questions about the meme wall? Well, just on the meme wall, I'm going to move away here so you can see. I don't have any, my light is off in this Alvis. Oh, you can still see. Cool. Okay, so I'm just going to, now that you mentioned the meme wall, hold on, I'm going to give me a full meme wall in here. Actually, let's see if we can, okay, there we go. So there's actually 2 new additions to the meme wall. We have the Kevin fighting the bear, Putin-esque kind of, whatever this is, this one here. And then up here we have this like Kevin, I don't know what this is, like floating Jesus-ish, godlike guy above the earth. I don't know what it is. Anyway, so those have been added. Maybe add a few more next week. Have people asked about the meme wall that come into the office? Yep. Most people, when I meet them in the office, I meet them in one of our conference rooms. Though I have met some people right here in my office. I've done other calls, and yeah, it gets kind of laughed at a little bit, and we make fun about it a little bit. But most people think it's kind of cool. At first, they think I'm just like some narcissistic prick because I got my face like 75 times around behind me, which I guess I can understand by looking at it. But after I explain it, it usually gets a laugh or two. So. And so, some people usually comment on the one or two that's like, wow, that took a lot of time. That person's talented. So at some point here, I have to have like some like credit too on the meme wall. I haven't done that yet, but we'll get to it. The bond idea. So I would try not to use the word bond. I mean, that's how I explained it because it's one of the easier way to explain it. I don't even know if this is possible from a regulatory aspect. To be honest, it probably isn't. But I say bond-like because that's the easiest way to explain it if you know what a bond is, debt. Basically, a bond involves debt. So you sell corporate debt, you issue a bond, and the people that buy the bond get an interest rate based on factors that include how high risk that debt is to the stability of the company, financially speaking. So the idea generally is that, look, you buy into the flash sale, like we already talked about, 12, 13, 14 cents, and then it gets listed at 15. You get basically a delayed bonus that is equal to X%, and it gets paid every year for, right now we're talking 5 years. It could be longer, it could be shorter, don't know. But every year that the token price is below the price you paid, you're paid a bonus that is a specific percentage of your initial contribution. So if you bought 100,000 XCM, let's say at 12 cents, and 1 year from then, XCM is worth 10 cents, you get 10,000 XCM as let's say if that was a 10% bonus, just to make it easy to describe, right? That's essentially the idea. And that would happen for up to 5 years. Every time on that year anniversary, the token price is below where it was when you purchased it. We could go a little more complex and say the annualized rate or the average daily rate so that you don't get screwed and it's like at 15 cents that day and then the next day drops down to 10 or something like that. But that's the general idea. Number 3, CoinMetro rules all. Hi, Kevin. On the roadmap, it says Q4 coin accepted at FXPig. How's it going to happen and still on Q4? Well, once the exchange is live and XCM is live, it makes it very easy for us to accept it at FXPig because we just need to have a wallet at CoinMetro and allows you pay into that wallet and then we credit you on the FXPig side. So it's very possible that it will be done within Q4. It just depends really on usage and liquidity. If we believe that we can do it and it's going to aid in the overall valuation of XCM, then we'll do it. It's not a major concern of us right now, to be honest. We have a lot of other concerns that we need to put into place. But it is generally on track because all we really need is XCM to be live and tradable for that to happen. Also a concern, as a pre-ICO buyer, these 4 months delay so far have gotten me to the point of needing some liquidity, but it seems you are thinking of doing some flash sales prior to me being able to sell my tokens. Don't you think of you releasing more XCM on the flash sales will saturate the market or at least have less demand by the time I am able to sell mine, therefore me not having the chance to sell my tokens for the best price? Well, in general, if under general market, let's say, rules, you could be right because yes, having more liquidity could lead to driving price down. That's true, but you have to understand that once we have many reasons why. Sorry, guys. Just I'm like don't want to lose my train of thought here, but YouTube just disconnected on this thing, and I didn't say. Okay, we're back. So back to the question here. So in reality, there's many different reasons why people won't sell their tokens. There are always going to be people that will sell their tokens, right? But there will be discounts for people that hold XCM. There will be reasons for people to hold XCM. There will be, when it comes to the valuation of a token, the more volumes we do, that token needs to rise in price. Why? Because the more volume we do, because of the way our tokenization is set up, the more tokens that need to be purchased on our end to pay for those fees and paid to us, the more tokens that are burned. So it's not like a normal, every 3 months, every month we take some profit and buy some tokens. No. Every single transaction induces more demand. So, I understand people need liquidity. That doesn't help you necessarily with the liquidity. Over time, though, I think it makes absolutely no difference. It actually helps us in a certain way because it provides more liquidity into the market, which allows us easier operations as we expand. Yes, I guess it could, in the very short term, push down the price. But that would mean that someone that buys at 12, 13, or 14 cents is going to immediately try to sell at 15, which I don't think is really accurate. And the reason is that in the ICO market, one, they're either long-term buyers, so they're not going to sell right away, or they're short-term, but are there really going to be a lot of short-term buyers that are trying to sell for a maximum 30% gain? And they probably won't even be able to get that gain because obviously our 7, 10, and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cent buyers are definitely, some of those are definitely going to be selling, which will push the price down regardless. So you have to remember that as a pre-ICO buyer, you bought for either 3 or 5 cents more than likely, right? Or even if you bought at 7, Ethereum was probably at 1,000 US at that time. Right now it's 250 max. It's not 250, but just to make the math easy, that's already a 4x win on your part if the price was, let's say, 7 cents. If it stays anywhere above and it's at 12 cents, now you have to multiply that 400. It's like a 700% gain. So to be honest, I think you're not in that bad of a position regardless. But people that are holding, who are the ones we really need to pay attention to as far as a business, I want to make sure that they make money. I'm not saying that people that want to sell, I don't want them to make money either, but you're talking about the guys who want to hold long term. I need them to be happy. That's for sure, because I want them to continue to hold, which means that my goal needs to be to make sure that the token's worth more in the future, not so much that it's worth more on day one, right? So in order to do that, I need to make sure my company has enough capital to be able to do that. So more capital means that I can get into more markets, have more regulatory licenses, and expand faster, which means I can grow quicker, which means the volume of XCM and the demand grows much faster, which means the price increases much faster, which should make everybody happy. So yeah, unfortunately you can't please everyone, and from a business standpoint, pleasing the guys that are holding, pleasing, let's say, those long-term hodlers, is the top priority goal over pleasing the guys who need to get out quicker, whether it's because they need liquidity or it's simply because they always thought they were going to sell. Number 4, hi Kevin, this is from Diligent Techie. Love the AMA and the open beta has been really cool. Great progress from your team. My questions. What do you think of the so-called third wave of crypto? What do you think will come out on top? ADA, EOS, or NEO? I haven't heard that term yet, third wave of crypto, but I don't think any of those come out on top, to be honest. I think if they were going to come out on top through this recent bear market and also after the problems that, let's say, Ethereum, for example, has suffered from scalability and blah, 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 that they already would have garnered a bit more market share. So I think the best of crypto is yet to come. I think Bitcoin will always hold a place in crypto because it was a first mover and because that's where the liquidity is. If the liquidity stays there, it's going to hold status. But I don't think we have the let's say, perfect smart contract platform. I don't think we have the perfect rewards-based platform. I don't think we have any perfect protocols yet. And I don't think any of these guys are really who comes out on top in the long run. They would have done it already. And if they haven't done it yet, I think there will be smarter tech that comes along. When you talk about a protocol, it's different than, these, like for exchanges, there's exchanges out already, but you come out with a better exchange and take it over. It doesn't matter if they've already done what you've done. You just have to do it better. And protocols are that times 2, let's say, because if you can make a protocol and eventually the tech issues will be solved, even if Ethereum solves their own issues, somebody else is going to solve it in a better way at some point. And then how do you compete? What is really the selling point? Oh, stick with Ethereum because we were here first and you like us? No, not going to happen. There's a consortium right now with JP Morgan, 70 plus banks that are working on a blockchain for banking. Who do you think banks are going to use for a banking blockchain? A protocol that requires 13-year-olds in their basement to mine, to process transactions? Absolutely not. No way, never going to happen. Or Chinese mining and mines based in Georgia, the proof of work, blah, blah, blah. No way, not going to happen. Do you think they're going to rely on a foundation that's run by a guy who says the most ridiculous things in the press all the time that gets regulators, getting butterflies in their stomach? No way, not at all. So, the leaders of industry are the ones that are going to propel the investment and propel basically the innovation in different sectors. We're going to end up with lots of different blockchain protocols that do very different things. And I don't think we really have, we haven't seen any of those yet. They have yet to be discovered, released, or created. Number 2 on your list of 4 questions, Diligent Techie. What's the best use case for blockchain in the world today, in your opinion? I haven't seen it yet. I don't know. I think there's a lot of people that take a problem and then ad hoc blockchain into it as a solution. And most of those, blockchain is not this super innovative, it can solve all the world's problems protocol. It's not yet. So I think one of the best use cases, obviously blockchain in and of itself, the consensus and the transparency mean that government use by government use, because there's a lot of transparency issues around the world. And as a use as a means of exchange when a country's default currency goes to shit. So Venezuela, Turkey, etc. That's probably the best real world use case we have right now. If you want to talk about just commercial uses, ICOs, fundraising is definitely one of the most used use cases, even though it's used, let's say, not in the best light by most people. That is definitely a real world use case that makes sense, and that definitely changes the way people used to do this in the past. What do you make of football, soccer clubs creating their own token? Stupid. I see a lot of guys clinging to this reward token thing. You don't need a token to do rewards. I mean, I have American Express membership points. I've had them for years. They don't have a token. Works fine. I can spend them every I want, put them on airlines, do whatever I want with them, buy gift cards, whatever. I don't need a token for that. It is a use case that is of no use. So it's, they want to get some publicity. Good for them. But who cares? I haven't yet seen an applicable use case for something like that that really, really needs consensus and that truly needs any type of decentralized system. And that if you can't prove that, you have there's absolutely no reason for you to be using blockchain. At least right now, in the current, the current blockchains that currently exist. I've read a few times this week that CoinMetro will be the next Coinbase. Do you like this comparison? No. Why don't I like the comparison? Coinbase does one thing. They're a one-trick pony. And we're like a 40-trick pony. So I don't want to be a one-trick pony. I like the comparison. Coinbase obviously has a good market share. They're pretty well known. They have their UI UX, is pretty well liked. They do some things well. So in those aspects, yes, I like the fact that they're into regulation. I like the fact that their name is all over the place. That's great. And yes, in that light, I think that's a good comparison. And I'd like to be in that comparison. But when it comes to the business at hand, and no way, I don't want to be Coinbase. I want to be so much more than Coinbase. And that's kind of where we're headed. And that's the goal. Number 5, Bruce Lee 707. Recently, there was a New York Times article that said cryptocurrencies are for large organizations and technically savvy people. The writer believed that cryptocurrencies are not meant for average non-technical users. What is your view on this? So many stupid things are mentioned this week. Not by you guys asking the questions, but that's retarded. And I know I'm going to probably get lambasted for saying retarded, but I'm 41 years old, and when I was a kid, we used that term all the time, and it didn't mean like, you had some mental issue. It just meant you were saying something stupid. So I'm going to use it. And I don't care if people in like San Francisco are like crying right now, because that's generally what happens. But no, it's dumb. It's a dumb thing. Why is it dumb? Because, and this is how I explain this to people, because a lot of people come out with this idiocy that, I don't understand how nobody understands how blockchain works, so how can they use it? It's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Could you explain to me how exactly your car operates? Could most people explain to you how airplanes fly? They get on them, right? I mean, they fly on them. Can you explain to me how the internet works? Probably not. Do you use it? Use it every day in your life. You have no idea how it works, but everything you do from when you wake up to when you go to sleep involves the internet. You use it, you trust it. You basically baseless trust it, and you use it, and you're not a tech geek and whatever, and you use it. You don't need to understand how the blockchain works. It doesn't even matter if you have absolutely no conceptualization of what it is. You will use apps that are built on top of that protocol. You're going to use Bitcoin. You're going to use all these decentralized apps and these dApps, and you don't have to know how the protocol works. So the guy who wrote that is a moron. And if he'd like to contact me, please send him my email address, and I'll tell him he's a moron to his face, and then explain to him why, and maybe he'll get a bit smarter. And then that'll be cool, and we can all sing Kumbaya and I don't know, have a coffee or something. Number 6, Robin Timmerman. Hey, Kevin, congratulations on the beta release. Thank you, Robin. I remember many months ago you talked about having some perks for large XCM holders. Have you worked this out already? What amount of XCM are we talking about? We're working that out, actually, right now. So we still don't have the exact tiers. It'll be a discount. That'll be a discounted, basically discounted access to exchange and everything else. There may be some other perks as well. We're working on kind of like that. Remember that airdrop family? Something like that, but where you're getting these airdrop tokens in ratio to how much XCM you hold above a certain amount. So I think we're going to build on that over time. Discounts are an easy one. Airdrop family is kind of an easy one. And we're spitballing ideas on other things. So if anybody has any ideas, shoot. Number 7, and the last one on our little list here of Reddit questions from CoinMetro fan. Hi, Kevin. How will CM cater for serious traders who wish to trade multiple strategies independently, each with their own trade history and stats, balance, equity, max drawdown, profit factor? I've heard that the wallet for a particular asset will be shared by various use cases. If so, I struggle to see how multiple trading accounts for a single user will be supported. Well, you can have multiple margin wallets in that instance and have multiple trading accounts. There's even ways to have one margin account and then share that margin, allocate margin across multiple trading accounts. Having multiple trading accounts is definitely something we will support. It's different when you have a trade account and then you use, let's say, margin from lending. So if when you have the swap lending or the margin lending, it becomes a bit more complicated because now you're talking about open exposure versus immediate settlement. But we will definitely support multiple trading accounts. I can't tell you exactly whether we're going to have multiple margin wallets, like margin wallet 1, margin wallet 2, whatever, or we're going to have one margin wallet and allow you to allocate margin to different trading accounts from that margin wallet. But when we get closer to getting towards margin usage, which is we're working on now, we'll be able to talk about this in a little bit more depth. Okay, I'm going to jump into the AMA, guys. Obviously, actually, before I do that, let me pop something open on my screen here. Give me a second. Yeah, all right, here we go. So I just had a list of stuff that I wanted to mention on a little update here before I get in there. So we have some names that we chose for the platforms. I don't like them at all. So I have to put my branding hat on and figure out what we can do with these. But Simplex, CMEX, which just really digs at my crow, that one. It sounds like a cement company. And then TradeX. I mean, X, I guess, is for exchange. You're trading. That's what an exchange is. I don't know. It's like saying trade. Anyway, there's some names right now. I think they're going to change. The Simplex UI has been released in open beta. So has the intermediate, or the CMEX, and the TradeX has also been released now at this point. Simplex and CMEX are getting CMEX, Jesus Christ, are going to be released with dedicated pages in the Android app this weekend. The Smart App prototype is ready for both Android and iOS, but we're waiting on APIs to make it work. So it's not yet released, but it's ready, at least from a mobile standpoint. Just wanted to throw that out there before I get into this AMA piece. What I'm going to do is, just bear with me, guys. I'm going to open up Facebook on my side and YouTube so that I can actually see these questions, because on our little thing here, sometimes I don't see them all. I see like 3 or 4, and I miss half of them. So give me a second, because, while you're actually doing an AMA and you're trying to look at it, yeah, let's just say the computing power starts to diminish. Things are delayed slightly. So just bear with me. Okay, I got YouTube up. Let's see if we can see some questions here on the YouTube side. Okay, so so new alt on the blockchain. Coinbase are much more than a one-trick pony, bro. Okay, bro. Well, tell me how many tricks they can do, and then maybe I'll call them a 2-trick pony. Their main revenue generating base is exchanging crypto to fiat or crypto to crypto. That is, they are an exchange. Whether they have their pro side, whether they have Coinbase Pro, which and they have their regular Coinbase app. That's it. I don't see any other tricks up that sleeve, but if you know what they are, please let me know, and we can discuss them. And thanks for calling me bro, by the way. Appreciate that. I feel the love. Let me just bring up a Facebook here. Yeah, wow, I don't know if it's just me. Facebook is like, it's like, oh, here we go. Okay, so I see some questions here on the Facebook side. I see, will it be a zero fee trading exchange? This is from Abhijit. I'm pretty sure I butchered that, and I apologize. Zero fee. No, there's no such thing as a zero fee trading exchange, right? So we could say zero fee and pad the spread and make money on the spread, and then charge a bunch of money for margin lending, or do a bunch of other things to make money behind the scenes and lie to our client base. I don't do that. So no, it's not a zero fee trading exchange, because there's no such thing as a zero fee trading exchange. We have some of the smallest fees in the industry. We pay 50% back to makers. We're going to provide some of the best affiliate bonuses and some of the best non-affiliate bonuses in the industry. And we're going to do that all under one of the smallest fee schedules known. We're going to give raw spreads back to means you're not going to pay some type of inflated spread, the price between the buy and sell price. So we're going to be significantly cheaper than most of those quote unquote zero fee trading exchanges. We just don't like to lie to people. So nice, Alex on Facebook, nice meme collection. Appreciate it. Yeah, if you have one you want to try to get added, send it by to us. If it makes the cut, we'll add it. When on Facebook, when CoinMetro exchange will be open for trade. The open beta is open now, so you can go ahead and test things out for those 3 different platforms. Between the end of September and the end of December, we're going to launch those platforms live. We're going to start out with the simplex. We'll go on to do the intermediate, or what are we calling it? The CMEX, Jesus, or CMX, I don't know, and the trade platform. So they'll come out in that staged order, and we're going to do that within this 4th quarter. Okay, back to YouTube. Ideas for the platform names: GuppyX, TroutX, WhaleX. Thank you for those. Your name probably is supposed to be pronounced cool, but to me it looks like Xkeys. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I guess if the name of the platform was like Coin Marine Life or something, I'd love to have some type of train, metro, city names. Just would fit better with the branding, but you're still better than CMEX. That name still kind of brings chills up my spine for some reason. The Kessler, are U.S. residents still excluded from the airdrop family? Is there any way you can participate in airdrops on CoinMetro? Like everybody else and their grandmother, we're waiting on some regulatory, the regulatory cloud to lift in the U.S. Until we really want to open the gates. We are already looking at U.S. regulation. We're already kind of somewhat in indirect chats with the CTFC to see how about, because we do believe that they're probably going to be the agency who's going to regulate crypto trading in general. But airdrop family, there may be a way in. I haven't really racked my brain with that too much. There may be a way in, but I don't really know just sitting here what that might be. So we'll have to kind of put that on the back burner for now and bring it up, in due course. Okay, I got another question coming in on Facebook. If you have time, a few Qs. Thoughts on Elon Musk investigation? How many people are using beta so far? How is beta going from CM perspective? Will Complex Exchange be live day 1? Great work on beta. Kudos. Okay, Stephen. So, Stephen, Elon Musk investigation. Well, I can't say it's too surprising. The guy basically went out and said he was going to put his company private, which obviously, by any stretch of the imagination, would affect the price. If there was any trading going on internally by himself or anyone else at the company during the times that after that was mentioned, that's definitely could be an insider trading tag. But it shows a bit of instability. And when you run a public company, you can't just go on Twitter. I mean, I know the president of the U.S. goes on Twitter and says whatever he wants, but he's the president, right? So whatever. I mean, you can tell him he's an idiot or tell him what he says, you don't like it or you do like it, but he's still the president. So there's not really anybody above him to like slap his wrist. He's not, the SEC can't come in and slap President Trump's wrist, but they can slap Elon Musk, and obviously they're doing that. So he should have expected that. And I'm sure the guys PR and crisis PR are probably like, Elon, please, let us do our job. I'm not going to say I agree with it. Markets are supposed to be open and free markets. They're not, but they're supposed to be. So it's a bit ridiculous, but it's definitely expected, I think. And how's the beta? The beta's going. I think the beta's going pretty well so far. Usage could maybe be a bit higher, I guess, but you can always say that. But I think the usage that we are getting is quite, let's say, quite heavy usage. So people are actually digging in and clicking on lots of buttons. The heat maps are looking quite well. People are going where they're supposed to go. We've had people that we know have no idea what crypto is being able to go through that simplex platform and understand it. We've seen people on the intermediate be able to understand that rather quickly. So I think it's going well overall. Will the Complex Exchange be live day 1? No. Live day 1, we will work with Simplex. Then we will go, once Simplex is all out working and we know it's good to go, then we move on to that intermediate or CMEX exchange. And then from there, we move on to the more complex version. Crofty Vlad, also from Facebook. How happy are you with the move to Estonia? Everyone praises the advantage to launch from Estonia. I'm happy. There's like 1 degree of separation in Estonia. So if you need to speak to somebody, you can like literally walk on the street, talk to like 1 or 2 people, and they know the person you need to talk to. So that's good for business. I generally like the Estonians and kind of their approach to things for the most part. So far, so good on that. I do think that it's a place, there is some guidelines like there are in Switzerland. The regulator is easy to approach. There's difficulties like there is everywhere. Obviously, most people have difficulties with banking. Most people have generally difficulties with access to banking. Some people have difficulties with other things beside banking. But that's kind of exists everywhere. So far, so good. I don't think Estonia is for everyone, but for specific types of projects that have specific backgrounds and are looking to do specific things, Estonia is a great choice. And I would say that in many aspects, it's better than Switzerland, and it's better than Malta. That is for sure. I would say, I don't know, running your business from a dinghy in the center of the Pacific Ocean with a flag on it that says, Cryptolandia is probably better than going to Malta. Jessica Evans also. I got a few things that popped up over here on YouTube. I'm going to run to that one real quick. From Kish E, are U.S. accredited participants able to definitely airdrop altcoins? Keep airdrop altcoins? Yes. I believe the answer to that would be yes. JB, Trex, T-Rex should be a fine name for the trading platform, okay? T-Rex. Well, it's a dinosaur. Not sure how that ties into a train so much. The name's not bad, though. But I would like to try to keep our branding kind of centric. So we have a cityscape, we have trains, we have this metro kind of like, very, it's on a track, it moves, it's fluid, when it's going to show up, blah, 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 blah. There's some aspects to the train that kind of make sense with the business we're in. But I would say T-Rex is definitely better than CMEX. That's for damn sure. Back to Facebook, Jessica Evans, will non-accredited U.S. contributors have access to live Simplex exchange alongside everyone else in Q4, or will U.S. contributors have to wait further? So contributor or not, U.S. participants or U.S. clients, there is no law yet that says that U.S. persons cannot trade on exchanges outside of the U.S. There's no law that says that we cannot solicit business from clients in the U.S. on an exchange. So as of today, there shouldn't be a restriction. However, most companies, when they want to de-risk a bit, tend to move away from the U.S. initially when you're a financial entity. Reason being is that the U.S. will try you in absentia and win and basically destroy your financial life if they can, if they feel that you're violating some unwritten law. So we need to tread lightly, and it's something that our new head of legal, Ingvar, who maybe one day will show up on the program with me when we happen to be sitting together, is also a licensed lawyer in New York State. So it is something that we've started to talk about. It's something that we're digging into. I'll be able to shed more light on that over the next couple weeks as we move through this beta process and we start to launch things. I would love to move into the U.S., but I don't want to do so if it jeopardizes my business, my own, myself, or my clients. So it remains to be seen, and those laws can change at any time, or laws can appear at any time. Legislation can appear at any time, and judicial precedent can appear at any time. So right now we kind of have our ears to the ground, and we're trying to figure out what the best approach is. Carlos comes in with train stop, simple train station, intermediate launchpad exchange. Yeah, that's kind of, we're going in the right direction, I think, Carlos. But yeah, I think we got to think a little broader. So I think if it was just imagery, like you could use like a train stop sign as the first one, but we need to make sure people know it's simple. So what is simple about a train? What would even a kid know about a train? Is it like choo-choo? I mean, that's kind of stupid, but you get my point. Like choo-choo is pretty simple. Even a little baby knows about choo-choos, where, intermediate, what's an intermediate thing that has to do with trains or metros or riding the tube in London? What is, is it like you buy your first ticket? You know, is it, and then the trading, when you've already bought a ton of tickets, what are you now? You know, I don't know. I got to think about it myself. I'm not 100% sure how it's going to work out, but I think we'll get there. We'll definitely come up with a good branding for it for sure. Okay, guys, I see my clock 6:05 here in Estonia. I'm willing to stay a bit longer if you guys have some more questions. I'm looking around. I don't see anything else on Facebook or YouTube right now. But I'll wait around a second and see if anything else pops in. I think I got everybody's questions even back. Let's see. Yep, I don't see any questions I missed, even back to the beginning. Yep, don't see anything else. So I'll give you guys about a minute or two here to see if you want to pop in with an additional question. Yep. Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate it. TradeView, PMFFMP on YouTube. When is TradeView going to launch? It did already. You mean launch to the beta? It's there now, so you can go check it out. If you're talking about when it's going to launch live, it will be the last piece of the puzzle to launch live in Q4. So we're targeting November, December to have everything live, like beginning of December into November, December. We have till the end of December, obviously. That's when the quarter ends. Obviously, we want to get these things launched as quick as possible. But Simplex will definitely launch first. Intermediate will launch second. And then TradeView will launch live last. But TradeView is live right now in the open beta. Paper trading, obviously. I see a comment on Facebook from Carlos. It says... from Robin. Did Robin push through the ideas for the branding, or are you saying that you have a question you're going to post from Robin there? All right, guys. I think looks like everybody's run out of gas. Somebody... Yes, I see something just came up. Okay, I can't ask any questions. My thoughts on blockchain.io. Give me a second while I pull this up, because I'm pretty sure I know what it is. I'm pretty sure I've been there, but just in case, let me pull it up. Yeah, my internet right now is like, okay. Your gateway to the Internet of Value. The European cryptocurrency exchange of trust for individual and institutional traders and investors. Join the token sale. Okay, great. Crypto exchange, decentralized settlement, liquidity service. Okay. It's kind of hard to give an opinion on this right away. Okay, so it says they're fully compliant and transparent, but it really gives no exactly how. They said they're going to be audited. It says they're going to comply with applicable regulations and international laws. They don't really list what those are. That's because there are none for the most part. Encrypted cold storage, great. Reliable infrastructure, okay. Select digital asset listing of currencies following a technical selection process, okay, good to go. Institutional ICO and token listing, okay. High performance matching, great. Basic and advanced orders, super. Periodic auctions. Auctions are used in a lot of markets, not only for price discovery, but also to add liquidity into the market. So not a bad idea. Peer-to-peer lending, yep, something that we're looking at, though. They better take lending off their website or they're going to get a nice regulatory phone call. Short and long margin trading, well, okay, that goes along with the lending, obviously. So yeah, I mean, they're offering a few things, obviously, that we're offering. But again, they're not breaking into what is the much larger market, which is banking services, which are debit cards, IBAN accounts, remittances, etc. So they're missing out on what is a much easier market to break into, to then expand crypto into. Like I said, there's lots of companies that are doing these things. Or trying to do. They haven't done anything yet. So, I mean, they're trying to do these things. Looking at the team real quick. So yeah, I mean, on the face of it, it looks like they may actually get something done. They're not reinventing the wheel. They don't have, let's say, the few things that we do that are definitely different from what everybody else does. TAM, ETCF. Nobody's really offering those two products. There's nobody that's linking together all the banking aspects as well, where you can actually have deliverable crypto, multi-asset trading, etc. But yeah, other than that, I mean, it looks like a decent setup. I don't know if they're actually going to come to market. I have to look a little bit deeper to understand where they're looking at for regulation, where they're looking to base themselves. I don't see, give me 1 second as I scroll to the bottom here. I don't see where they're based. It doesn't say. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they're based, which is a big part of this for sure. But yeah, look, everybody, a lot of guys are coming out with similar things to what we did, but nobody's yet hit what we've done. Actually, really what we've done. I mean, yeah, we might be in a beta, but banking partnerships with now about to have partnerships with other banks, multiple banking partnerships, inroads into different regulators across the world. A team a structured team. They look like they have a pretty structured team. Didn't read too much into it, but there's a lot of things, and there's never going to be one game in town, right? J.P. Morgan's a big bank, so's UBS, so's Credit Suisse. I don't think Credit Suisse really gives a rat's ass when somebody else says they're going to open a bank. They don't go, oh my God, somebody's opening a bank, we're out of business. So. Anyway, we'll see. I'll follow them. I'll see how they do. I'd like to see how their token sale goes. That'll be interesting, and go from there. But thanks, Robin, for bringing it up, because usually most of these sites are kind of crappy, but that one looks at least somewhat legitimate from first glance. When is TradeView? Are you sure that TradeView? I can see TradeView. Maybe it's only been released. You know what? I think actually, yeah, you know what it is? It's released to a small subset. It might be released to a small subset right now. I think Monday's actually when we're going to push it. It should have been in the email that was sent out to you guys. Let me check. Give me a second, guys. Give me a second, because I can see it. But I'm me, so I guess I should be able to see it. Makes sense. Let's see. See if I have an update here. So, internet is really slow with all this stuff going on. Anyway, if anybody received the email update, it should have the text inside the email update for when it's launching to everybody. It might actually be Monday, guys, to be honest, when it's launching to everybody. I've seen it. I played around with it. I can see it inside my beta. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna call it a day on there 6:13 on my side. As always, hope you guys have a great weekend. I thank you guys for joining. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for the Reddit. Thanks for the news follow-ups. Appreciate you guys asking questions live, spending some time with me on a Friday. I will see you guys next Friday. I will try to get in a Telegram like usual over the weekend. Not sure that's going to happen, but I'll do my best. Thanks for testing out the beta. Please get in there and mess around, even if it's just on those two interfaces right now. I think by Monday you'll get the third interface if you can't see it yet. But check that update email. If you don't have the update email, ask in Telegram for somebody who does. And yeah, thanks a lot for the assistance. We're getting there. We're really starting to kind of put the pedal to the metal, or I guess the rail to the track, maybe, and get things moving. And yeah. I'll see you guys. Thanks a lot. Have some fun over the weekend. Don't look at the Ethereum prices, please. And yeah, spend some time with friends and family. Talk to you guys soon.